Shalom. First and foremost, as always, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rekakwadash. I want to give double honors to my apostles at Great Millstone, who taught me this truth and to teach the correct doctrine of the Scriptures. I want to give a sincere shalom to the elect out there that's laboring in these last days and enduring. Alright? Everybody knows by now about those hit pieces that CNN and Fox News have done on us, trying to paint us as extremist and militant and, calling us black Hebrew Israelites. Well, that's a term that you so-called white people put on us, man. Okay, we never called ourselves black Hebrew Israelites. That's a term that y'all made up. And others carry that, guys like Vocab Malone and guys who don't fucking know any better, who come against the truth. Alright, so my question is, as you can see on your screen, and these were a bunch of responses done, okay, to a statement that Vocab Malone made about 6 months ago. And the question is, are these brothers black Hebrew Israelites? Are these brothers black Hebrew Israelites? Huh? So we'll keep scrolling down. Alright, are all these brothers black Hebrew Israelites, man? Because you guys you'll try and paint all kinds of pictures, but you won't ever get into the truth because you're the devil, man. You just want, like brothers keep saying, you want to control the narrative. You want to control the story behind everything. Okay? And in order to control that story, you have to suppress certain types of information. Because there's going to be confusion of faces, man. Alright, there's going to be Israelites that look like all the other nations where they were scattered. So no, they're not black Hebrew Israelites. Okay? You get in a couple scriptures. This is part of the curses. As you read Deuteronomy 28 and 15, this is the curses put on our nation. Deuteronomy 28 and 15, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy power to observe, to do all his commandments and statutes which I command thee this day, which we broke. Okay, we broke those laws, statutes, and commandments. And we started going after other gods and so forth. That all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Okay, so these were the curses, man. And it says in Deuteronomy 28 and 64, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And what's the main god that our people worship over here in America? They worship Serapis Christus, that one who you people call Jesus Christ, ignorantly call Jesus Christ. Okay, the image of that white Jesus. Okay, it goes back to Cesare Borgia, and it goes back to Serapis Christus. But this is a mystery that certain people are only going to get, and those certain people are the elect of the nation of Israel. Okay? Well, I mean, you're going to have 2/3 that know that Cesare, who the white Jesus is, but the elect is going to be the only ones that fully understand all these mysteries. Okay, so you can sit there and have your so-called white pastors try and debunk us, but it's not going to happen, man, because you're not going to attack us according to the word. Okay, you're going to take like Apostle Tahar said, hours of footage and show 3 minutes. You know, you can't explain this truth in 3 minutes. You can't explain this truth in an hour. Okay? You have to consistently be involved to understand what this truth is about. And the Most High has to open it up to you. Alright? But here's a couple scriptures showing how brothers are going to end up looking like all these nations where they were scattered. Okay? And not only that, but our people, Israelites, according to if you're an Israelite or not, goes back to your father's lineage. Okay? Whenever you read in the scriptures, you always hear about forefathers, fathers, okay, generations, genealogies. There's written all throughout the scriptures, and it always goes through the father's side, because the father carries the seed, okay, which goes back to that Greek word sperma, okay, because the father carries the seed. He's the one who passes down your lineage and heritage. So as long as someone's father is an Israelite by blood, then they're an Israelite. It's not hard to get. It's really not hard to understand. And our people have been scattered all over the world according to the diaspora. Okay, our people have been scattered all throughout the world, and they're obviously going to have children with the women of those nations. Okay, because our men they like variety in women, and women like our men. Okay, and obviously they're gonna have children with women of these other nations. They're gonna come out looking somewhat like their mothers. Okay, but does that mean that their lineage goes back to that mother? No, it doesn't. It goes back to the father. Okay, your nationality is determined by your father. It's not hard to understand. But you're not gonna. But CNN and Fox News is not gonna tell the truth about that. Okay, that's one of the topics that they're not gonna touch, because it'll create a big awakening, so to speak, confusion of faces. All right, and they know that. Actually, we'll go to Acts first. In fact, we'll go to Daniel. Daniel 9:7. O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of faces, as at this day, to the men of Judah, and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and to all Israel, that are near and that are far off, through all the countries whither thou hast driven them, because of their trespass that they have trespassed against thee. Okay? Through the countries whither thou hast driven them. Why? Because they're going to be confusion of faces, man. They're not all going to look the same. Okay? We're not all going to have the same backgrounds, so to speak. Okay? Why? Because our we were taken away from our heritage, according to Jeremiah 17:4. All right, but you're going to be seeing brothers come into this truth that look like all the different nations. Okay? Well, let's just say this. You're going to have Israelites looking like every nation. Apostle Gabar made the statement that you're going to be seeing Edomites that look like every nation on the face of the earth. Because Edomites are all over the place, man. You know? And you got to wonder about war babies and so on and so forth. You know? It's impossible to tell who's an Israelite by looking at them. You have to go by their spirit, man. And that's something that you carnal people, you Edomites, you're never going to understand, because you're not a spiritual people. All right. This is Acts 2 and 5, and they were dwelling in Jerusalem, Jews, devout men. Okay? And word devout means to be pious or faithful. Okay? The word devout. Out of every nation under heaven. Now, wait a minute. There were Jews out of every nation under heaven. Okay? Now when this was noised abroad, the multitude came together and were confounded, because that every man heard them speak in his own language. And they were all amazed and marveled, saying one to another, Behold, are not all these which speak Galileans? And how hear we every man in our own tongue wherein we were born? Parthians and Medes and Elamites and the dwellers in Mesopotamia and in Judea and Cappadocia and Pontus and Asia, Phrygia and Pamphylia and Egypt and in parts of Libya about Cyrene, and strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes, because our people were scattered, man. That's why this is written. Okay, so, I mean, they're not all going to look the same. If you think that they're all going to look the same, then you're sadly mistaken, man. Okay? Because if you get scattered, let's say you get scattered to Rome. We'll just use that as an example. I shouldn't use Rome, but okay, we'll go Asia or Pontus. Okay, we'll go with Pontus, or really any of these nations. Let's say an Israelite man loses his heritage over a couple generations, and he moves to one of these areas in general. Okay, what are the chances that he's going to be getting with a so-called black woman in these nations? If there's hardly any black women in these nations. Now, I'm not saying that there's not, but there's few. Okay, because our people are not the primary nation of people in these nations. Okay, if they're scattered there, then they're going to be a minority. So they're going to be getting with these other women. All right, and it was commonplace back then for men to have multiple wives. It was a common practice, not just with Israelites, but pretty much with all nations back in ancient times, because we live in a feminine society now. Okay, and they want the woman to rule over the man, because it creates dysfunction in the household amongst the children and that, man. The man has to be the leader. That's scriptural. Because that's why you have so many broken families here in America, man. Because they put the woman over the man, and she's not supposed to be the leader of the house or the family. Cretes and Arabians, continuing on, Cretes and Arabians, we do hear them speak in our tongues the wonderful works of Yahweh. And they were all amazed and were in doubt, saying one to another, What meaneth this? Okay, so they're all amazed. Okay, because they were struck by these confusion of faces. Others mocking said, These men are full of new wine. But Peter, standing up with the 11, lifted up his voice and said unto them, Ye men of Judea, and all ye that dwell in Jerusalem, be this known unto you, and hearken to my words. For these are not drunken, as ye suppose, seeing it is but the third hour of the day. Okay? So, you get the point, man. Alright? A few more scriptures, and we'll wrap it up. James 1:1, James, a servant of Yahweh and of the Lord Yahweh Shai, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting. So that cuts out the notion that the Gentiles in the New Testament are talking about those who aren't Israelites. That cuts that notion, man. Because that's really all you Christians have, you heathen Christians have to hang on to, man. That Gentiles issue. But you don't understand that it's a mystery. Okay? The Gentiles in the New Testament that came to the one that you called Jesus and accepted him are Israelites that were living in other nations. Because they were scattered, okay? It's really that simple. So when we go out there and we teach the truth, who are we trying to wake up? We're trying to wake up the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad. And they would be scattered. Isaiah 11 and 10. And in that day, there should be a root of Jesse, which is Yahushai, okay, the one who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. And you Christians, you don't know these scriptures, man. You won't bring this out. But shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. And it shall come to, because they're going to be Gentiles then. They're going to be foreign to their power. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros and from Cush and from Elam. These are the Gentiles. Alright? Coming to Yahushai, okay? And from Cush and from Elam and from Shinar and from Hamath and from the islands of the sea. And he shall set up an ensign from the nations and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel. That's the Gentiles here. These are the Gentiles in the New Testament. Strong's G1484, ethnos. Okay? Which means to be of a certain tribe or gene, okay? Genealogy, okay? Now you do have ethnikos, which is actually the heathen nations. But when you talk about someone receiving this truth, or an account of someone receiving this truth in the New Testament, they're always Israelites, man. It always comes up, G1484 every time. It's never 1485. Never. And gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. Okay, and that's happening right now. Okay, you see all these camps all over the world coming together to push this word. That's the outcast of Israel and the dispersed of Judah coming together. Okay, teaching this word in the last days, waking up the other elect. All right, and this is a mystery, man. Okay, Colossians 1:27, to whom Yahweh would make known what is the riches of the glory of this mystery among the Gentiles, which is in you, the hope of glory. So this Gentiles issue, which is, it's always been a big issue, especially Cornelius, is a mystery. Okay, and only Yahweh would make known what is the riches of the glory of this mystery, which is understanding who the Gentiles really are. It's not talking about you heathens, okay? If it was that much of a mystery, then 2 billion Christians wouldn't get it. If it was really that much of a fucking mystery, man. Pardon my language. Okay? Which y'all Christians, you get offended over those words, but you don't know what they mean. It's really not a bad word. The F word. Okay? Now, I could bring out Matthew 24. In fact, I'm going to bring that out. But reading this again, to whom Yahweh would make known. Because Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai has to make known his mysteries. He giveth his secrets unto the servants, the prophets. The scriptures say in Psalms that the secret of the Lord is with them that fear him. You Edomites, you don't fear the Most High, man. You only believe in and jumping for joy Jesus, okay? To whom Yahweh would make known what is the riches of this glory. And if it's full of riches, then why would 2 billion Christians get it? Riches of the glory of this mystery among the Gentiles, which is Yahushai in you, the hope and glory. Okay, so this is a mystery that not many are going to get. So this scripture right here is telling you that the mystery of the Gentiles is not what the world sees. Okay? Going into this scripture, and we'll wrap it up. Matthew 24:30, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. These clouds are talking about so-called UFOs, okay? Chariots of the Most High. And he shall send his angels with great sound of a trumpet. And they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. So these Israelites that receive salvation in Matthew 24 and 31, the elect that gets gathered are what? Are all Israelites, and they're going to look like the other nations, man. Because the elect is only the nation of Israel. And you can't prove that it's anyone else other than the nation of Israel. Because that's who the adoptions and the covenants and the laws were given to. Okay, it even says in Isaiah that Jacob is his servant and Israel is his elect. So with that, I believe I've proved my point. Until next time, shalom. Peace and blessings to the elect.